Xbox restructures as Microsoft shifts focus back to console gaming. Microsoft is making sweeping changes to Xbox after years of betting heavily on subscriptions and cloud gaming. Following a major restructuring that includes thousands of layoffs and the departure of several game studios, Xbox leadership says the company is preparing for a new direction centered on console players. The changes mark one of the biggest strategic shifts in Xbox history and reflect Microsoft's efforts to regain momentum in an increasingly competitive gaming market. Subscription strategy falls short. Over the past decade, Microsoft invested heavily in building Xbox Game Pass, a subscription service designed to give players access to a large library of games for a monthly fee. The company spent tens of billions of dollars acquiring game studios and publishers, including Activision Blizzard, with the expectation that exclusive content would drive subscription growth. However, the results have reportedly fallen short of expectations. Yeah, didn't they have like 34 or 35 million subscribers and that was a failure? Industry research suggests many gamers purchase only a handful of games each year and spend most of their time playing those same titles rather than constantly trying new releases. That behavior makes subscription services less appealing for a large portion of the gaming audience. Although Game Pass remains one of the industry's largest gaming subscription services, it has not reached the level of growth Microsoft originally anticipated. Thousands of jobs eliminated. As part of its restructuring, Microsoft announced plans to eliminate approximately 3,200 positions across its Xbox division through fiscal year 2027. The company is also separating several development studios from Xbox, with some becoming independent while others seek new ownership. Leadership says the restructuring is intended to streamline operations and better position Xbox for long term success, though the announcement has drawn criticism through the gaming industry due to its impact on developers and support staff. Industry wide challenges continue. Microsoft is not alone in facing difficult market conditions. Since the surge in gaming during the COVID-19 pandemic, many publishers have struggled to maintain the rapid growth they experienced during that period. Players continue spending much of their gaming time on established franchises and live service titles, leaving less room for newer intellectual properties to gain traction, and lesser known live service titles that are trying to be born. As development costs continue rising, publishers have become increasingly cautious about investing in large scale projects without clear commercial potential. Activision acquisition hasn't solved everything. And okay, after I read this paragraph, I'm gonna have to stop, just because I got a lot to say about that. Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard was expected to strengthen Xbox's first-party lineup and accelerate Game Pass growth, and it could have. While the purchase significantly expanded Microsoft's portfolio with franchises such as Call of Duty, Diablo, and World of Warcraft, reports indicate that the acquisition has not produced the subscription growth many analysts expected. The situation has led some observers to question whether simply owning more studios is enough to drive long-term success in today's gaming market. Okay, I have to say, is owning more studios enough to survive in today's market? Not when you're not doing anything with those studios. Oh, this is one. This is one of the things, just one of them, that Phil Spencer did that made me lose my mind when I heard about it. I'll go through it again. Me and Dr. Games 101, we were excited when we heard about the acquisition, and we were excited when we heard that it went through, because what we said was, you got the True Crime series. I guess you can throw Sleeping Dogs in there because that was supposed to be a reboot of the True Crime series. You got Tony Hawk. You had about 20 other franchises that Microsoft finally had access to. And we thought, I can't wait till True Crime Streets of New York is on Game Pass. I can't wait till the Tony Hawk 1 and 2 is on Game Pass. I can't wait till, and none of that happened. Phil Spencer, in his infinite wisdom, thought it was worth purchasing. It was worth $75.6 billion or $1,000,000. Was it billion or million? I don't even remember at this point. But he thought it was worth all that. Thought it was worth tens of millions, I think it was, to put Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 reboot on Game Pass, and then to put Black Ops 7 on Game Pass. No, he should have he should have never gotten the acquisition if it was just to pretend the rest of Call of Duty didn't matter and to just start adding newer games to Game Pass. Because I hate to say it, Call of Duty, it's doesn't have the same appeal that it once did. Modern Warfare 2, the original, the first Black Ops, that era, in my mind, in my opinion, is when Call of Duty was had the most support, when Call of Duty was the strongest. Dr. Games 101 said, what about Call of Duty 2, the big red one, Call of Duty 3, Call of Duty 4, the first Modern Warfare? He wanted to see those games on Game Pass, and you got none of that. So, yeah, if you buy all these studios and then you just hoard them like, mine, 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 that's not, you don't make money that way. So, yeah, owning studios just for the sake of owning them is not a way for you to, is not a way where you're going to be able to make money back on those properties because you're not doing anything with those properties. But I'll go back. Let's continue. A return to console gaming. Xbox CEO Asha Sharma has outlined a different vision for Microsoft's gaming future. Well, it couldn't be the same one that Phil Spencer thought he should do because that plan was failing, and I can't believe that someone like me could see how much that plan was going to fail, and Phil Spencer couldn't. Rather than focusing primarily on subscription growth, the company intends to place greater emphasis on traditional console gaming and rebuilding its hardware business. A key part of that strategy is the development of Microsoft's next-generation gaming system, currently known by its reported codename Project Helix. The console is expected to arrive later this decade and is rumored to combine elements of both a traditional gaming console and a Windows-based PC. Microsoft hopes the new hardware will help strengthen Xbox's position ahead of the next console generation. Hardware challenges remain. Developing new gaming hardware has become increasingly difficult due to rising manufacturing costs. Demand for advanced memory chips, driven largely by the rapid expansion of artificial intelligence technologies, has pushed component prices significantly higher. These increased production costs could affect the design, pricing, and release plans for future gaming hardware across the industry. Microsoft is not the only company dealing with these challenges as hardware manufacturers continue adjusting their plans in response to changing market conditions. Looking towards the future, another major milestone on the horizon is the eventual release of Grand Theft Auto 6, one of the most anticipated games in gaming history. Large blockbuster releases often drive console sales, making the game's launch an important opportunity for every major platform holder. Microsoft will likely hope that its next generation strategy and future hardware lineup are well positioned to capitalize on major releases like GTA 6. Can Xbox turn things around? The recent restructuring represents a major turning point for Microsoft's gaming division. After years of prioritizing subscriptions and studio acquisitions, Xbox appears to be shifting its attention back towards console hardware and traditional game sales. Whether that strategy succeeds will depend on several factors, including consumer demand, the health of the gaming market, and Microsoft's ability to deliver compelling exclusive games. For now, Xbox remains in the middle of a significant transformation, and the company's next few years could determine the direction of one of gaming's biggest brands for the next generation. Yeah, so, this actually, with what Sony's doing, this actually, Microsoft could use that to advantage by not going completely digital like Sony is, although I think that's a pipe dream. I think Microsoft is going to go digital, completely digital. They're just waiting to see how much more backlash Sony has to deal with. I wouldn't be surprised in 5 years if Microsoft and Nintendo go that way. But one way they could capitalize on the backlash Sony is dealing with is by saying, listen, we're not we're not going that way. This isn't 2013. We're not going to try that again. If Sony wants to go that way, come over to Xbox. You know how many people they could bring over to Xbox if someone came out and just said, "Yeah, you don't have to worry about us going all digital or only did only digital." That would get a lot of people that were willing to at least give Xbox a chance. Um, so there's that. There's so they could, you know, but also they got to cut cost. All these studios, I said what I would have done, and I'll tell it right now. If I was Phil Spencer and the Activision Blizzard merger had gone through, I probably would have like fired up uh, Microsoft Teams or some conference software and told every studio, I want to see the franchises you own. I want to see the last game that was made, and I want to see if it was a net profit or if it was a loss. And I want that for every IP you own. And then based on those numbers, I would have said either we're going to make a reboot, we're going to make a sequel, or we're going to make a new IP. Or some studios might have to be closed. And again, I don't know how I could have thought of this, and Phil Spencer could not. Um, so yeah, you can't just have studios just for the sake of owning them. That doesn't bring in money. That's really a way to lose money instead of making money. Um, I don't mean to continue bashing Phil Spencer, but again, with Xbox being in the shape it's in, that's because of the way he ran it for the past few years, and the years that I criticized him on. So, I hope that Asha Sharma can turn Xbox around. I will say I don't think she can do any worse than Phil Spencer was doing in his last few years. So at least there's that. But then again, never say never. Um, so that's one thing about uh, Xbox possible future. But yeah, they really just if you have to cut studios or sell them off or let them go out on their own, that's what you're gonna have to do. Um, it sucks that they have to do that, but they can't they can't continue to uh, hemorrhage money um, hanging on to these studios, especially with nothing being done by them. So, hopefully Asha Sharma can turn things around. Hopefully the Helix isn't going to be $1,000 gaming console or $1,000+ gaming console when it comes out, whenever it does. But um, and the thing is with Asha Sharma wanting things, the way I've heard her talk in interviews and seen like in press interviews, I don't think Helix will if it can be helped. What I mean is, like, Asha Sharma has talked about how, when it came to Game Pass, for example, and the latest and the ultimate tier was like $30 a month or $29.99, whichever you want to say, and she realized, yeah, a lot of people can't afford that. So we have to lower the price for Game Pass Ultimate, but we also have to take something away because we can't just give everything we were giving away for 30 for you know for nearly a third off every month. Um, and that was the decision to remove Call of Duty on day one. As far as like most people don't try out new games, they just stick like to the few that they would have purchased, but instead that they were paying a monthly subscription for. I do believe that's most people. That was definitely. I don't want to say that was definitely me when I had Game Pass, because I did my best to try out new games that I would have never thought of purchasing or even giving a chance because they're free. They're there. Just download them and play them. And if I hate it, I can always stop playing it 5, 10, 15 minutes later and download something else. So, but, again, routines are easier than exploring. Routines are easier than trying something that you're not sure if you're going to like it. Um, so, I understand why they were saying, yeah, people don't they don't try out a whole vast library. They got their 5, 10, or however many games, and they stick to them. So, yeah, that's what I think about Xbox restructuring. And like I said, it had to be. They said they're going to lay off 3,200 employees by fiscal year 27. And like I said, it just something that had to be done. It's something that how much longer? I mean, if they just continue to kick the can down the road, how much longer was Xbox really going to survive? Um, on the Let's Discuss Gaming podcast that I did with Dr. Games 101, I told him, if Phil Spencer had come to me and said, James, I need your help. Can you help me turn around Xbox um, and stop taking L's? I would have told Phil Spencer to his face, absolutely not. You've devalued the Xbox name so much. I don't think anyone can do it. I don't think anyone can help turn Xbox around. So, and Asha Sharma, Matt Booty, whoever else is helping them, um, they got their work cut out for them. I'm happy that they're trying, but it's not going to be easy. And I mean, so what will Xbox hold for the next 5 years, 10 years? We don't know, but I do think there is a way. Will Xbox capitalize on that or be able to capitalize on that? Only time will tell. We just have to wait and see what happens. Time for the next story.